what's the problem with just providing? Why wouldn't that company just provide a small silo, like a bolt-on that holds, a couple truckloads, a truckload at a time or whatever, because you're only going to be using 1,200 tons a year. Seems like you could just have a bolt-on silo. It wouldn't be, and those aren't as expensive as like some of these, gigantic ones. I don't know. I think that if somebody's serious and they want to come in and they're going to sign contracts, you'd have to probably get more than one plant and actually be able to scale a business. I don't see why they couldn't come in and work together with a concrete plant, get a bolt on in there, and figure out some kind of leasing arrangement to get it funneled in there.
Yeah, I know some of that's happened in the past. There's some agreements that have taken place. It's so plant specific. It's so hard to find two ready mix plants that are the same. It's pretty rare. So it really just depends on what is that footprint, what is that superstructure, what's that air permit, what's your traffic flow, and you can figure all those things out if it's a necessity. I think it's just going to be that balance, and I can see plenty of folks just saying, "Well, I'm just going to fill my silo up with what I can get, and there you go, figure it out, rock and roll." Versus wanting to make all those changes, because to a lot of folks, I can see they're gonna wonder, is this a long-term problem? Is this something that's here to stay? You still hear so many of those rumblings, like you brought up before, that yeah, there's been a shift in political winds, and it may not be as important. I'm of the opinion that regardless of the politics involved, because so much money's attached to it at this point globally, it may ebb and flow, but it ain't going backwards. And a lot of programs just don't roll back once they're in place, when they're policy. So it may slow down, but it's not going to go away. But I think a lot of people are going to be hoping for that, like the hats that are all, make type 1-2 again, and pushing to get cement producers in their markets to go back to producing a 1-2, or they're ramping up their imports of foreign produced 1-2 to bring it into their market. That's going to have an impact and be there for a while. But I think the hang up for most everybody in making that capital investment is, well, how permanent is this? And so I think there's going to have to be pretty strong agreements between supplier, producer, customer, and equipment to kind of figure some of that stuff out. Some folks will, other folks will just kind of, like I said, back up and punt and just say, we're gonna do what's the easiest. Easy button was created in the ready mix industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need a discount. I think that phrase was also created in the ready mix business as well. I think going back to the supply of some of these cementitious materials, like, I mean, it's so interesting that because the volumes can be so massive, and some of these industries just aren't used to that, and
Yeah.
you could sell out a plant just having one customer, which is, I mean, that's scary as a producer and supplier. You don't
Yeah.
want to be beholden to one person, but it's just the volume's the name of the game, and so yeah, the capex is real. There's no doubt about it. But if there's supply agreements in place, I think people should be jumping on this. I really do.